All right, Umoya Ulight, Umoya Ubright. Welcome to another Moya live stream session. Thank you so much for joining us as we have this tribute to Ndate Mangaliso Sobukwe. We went to Kimberly the other day and we met this tour guide, Ndate Buitumelo Joy Phirisi, known as the Native. And he's got tours running in Kimberly. On my screen, you will be able to see his phone number. So whenever you're in Kimberly, you've got a tour guide. But we asked him to help us do a tribute to Mangaliso Sobukwe, the great giant. Dada Joy, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, my lady. How are you?
We are perfect. Thank you. We're looking forward to the session.
So am I. Thanks, my good.
Okay, I hope you're ready to talk for a very long time because we are here, pen and paper, ready to take notes. We are learning about Ntate Mangaliso Sobukwe. You can take the mic from me.
Thank you. Thank you, Osintiki. My name is Buitumero Joy Phirisi. I'm a local tourist guide here in Kgaleshewe. I own a company called Native Minds Heritage Tourism. Uh, in our business, we do oral history research. We document the oral histories of previously disadvantaged communities, and we promote those histories through active tourist guiding activities. Now, having Sobukwe as one of the icons that once was imprisoned in Kgaleshewe, he became our subject. Hence, we've also recorded the story of Robert Sobukwe within Kgaleshewe, and that's the story that I'm prepared to come share with you today. Uh, tomorrow, tomorrow will be the 13th of May, and on that very same day, tomorrow, Robert Sobukwe was actually transferred to Kgaleshewe in 1968. So now, being one of the only, I'm saying only political prisoners, Robert Sobukwe never had a life. The one that he had, he devoted to the people of Azania as well as Africa. Robert Sobukwe, if we can remember, Robert Sobukwe was born in Grafrinet. He attended primary school at Grafrinet. Now, with the absence of higher primary schools in Grafrinet at Ukwa, he had to go to Hilton. And from there, he went up until he went to join higher tertiary education. And that's where he met with the likes of Nelson Mandela, uh, Sisulu, and they all became friends, became active members of the ANC Youth League. Now, it was during that time, because, mind you, the ANC Youth League at that time was actually also in some sort of pushing a Pan-Africanist agenda. Now, this Pan-Africanist agenda is the one that Sobukwe subscribed to. But then later on, he himself, Robert Sobukwe, and the others, Pan-Africanists, realized that no, what it looks like our struggle is being dictated to by the communists. So, having realized that no man, our struggle is being compromised, Sobukwe and the others left the ANC and he formed what we called the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. Now, only 6 months after the birth of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the organization was banned together with the other political organizations. The reason being, Sobukwe had made a clarion call to the people of South Africa to leave their passes at home and walk towards their nearest police stations and hand themselves over for arrest, which then sent shocking waves through the spines of those that held us caged. I mean, if everyone can hand him or herself over at a police station, it means those police stations will be full to capacity, including the prison cells will also be full, but they can't hold us all. So those who will be left behind will then be able to continue with the struggle outside. Ever since Sobukwe left his home on that day, he never saw freedom again, because Sobukwe he woke up early in the morning, prepared himself to take the walk to the nearest police station. His wife accompanied him or walked him to the police station, but only because she was reporting to work. So Sobukwe led by example. He led that peaceful march to a police station, and when he got there, he went to the station commander and told him that we are here to arrest, to hand ourselves over for arrest because we don't want to carry our passes. Now, the enemy saw that this move was one of the most brilliant moves, because in as much as we can arrest these people, we won't be able to can hold them all. So Sobukwe was then arrested, charged for incitement, and he was imprisoned for 3 years. He was supposed to have served his sentence at the fort, but on that same night, the apartheid agents came, stole him, and flew him to Robben Island that same night. He was then confined to Robben Island for a period of 3 years. But when that 3 years came to pass, the government, or should I say Parliament had to sit and come up with a law that would serve to detain Sobukwe, or to govern Sobukwe alone. Uh, the Minister of Security by then, Mr. Forster, the international community wanted to understand as to why are you having so many political prisoners in your prisons. Remember, the Nelson Mandelas were there as well. Uh, Governor Mbeki and all those, they were also in Robben Island. His response was he knew nothing of this these many political prisoners. The only political prisoners that he knows about, it was Robert Sobukwe, because Robert Sobukwe was the only one that was fighting for a just cause. Now, this law that was dubbed the Sobukwe Clause. The Sobukwe Clause was renewed annually in order, because it entailed that Sobukwe had to be kept in prison up until the other side of eternity. And Sobukwe could not be quoted. So, being the only political prisoners in Robben Island, Sobukwe could not be placed with the other prisoners, because those were deemed criminals. Sobukwe was afforded his own cottage, aloof from the other prisoners. So he could wear his own clothes. Sobukwe could study. He could have a radio inside his cottage, and yes, he served his 3 years, and including the additional 6 years, which was added by the Sobukwe clause. But now, because of pressure was mounting, internal pressure as well as external pressure was mounting for the government to release Sobukwe. Bear in mind, it's only the pressure that is mounting for the government to free Sobukwe. Pressure is not mounting for the government to repeal or revoke the Sobukwe clause. But now, instead of him being released, the government extended his prison cell. Mind you, the clause stipulates that this fellow needs to be kept in prison up until the other side of eternity. So instead of releasing him, the government then extended his prison cell from Robben Island to Galeshewe. Because even if Robert Sobukwe was here, he was also held captive. Because the terms that were set for him at Robben Island could not work whilst he was in a community. So on top of that, more restrictions had to be added. And those were the restrictions that would serve as your banishment orders. Like he was then banished to Galeshewe under house arrest. So house arrest banishments should have been, were added to the Sobukwe clause. Hence, up until to date, the voice of Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe can still not be heard. No writing or any other article that he produced can be read. So it is clear to us that the Sobukwe clause is still intact. Now, when he was sent to Galeshewe, Parliament or the government communicated that with the Kimberly municipality to look for a suitable place for Robert Sobukwe. Now, an investigation or a research had to be done by the Kimberly municipality as to where to place Robert Sobukwe. And the ideal spot was identified at number 6 Naledi Street. Now, if you look at the location where Naledi Street is located, Naledi Street is in between, or should I say, it's in Kwanobantu Street, Kwanobantu location. We call it in Galeshewe Sobantu. But at Kwanobantu location, we've got Pakedi Street and Naledi Street. Now, those two streets were what we would call your, can I say Centurion? No, not even Centurion. But in Kimberley, we would say it's your Monument Heights of Galeshewe. So Robert Sobukwe was placed in that street alongside the first location that was developed by De Beers. Kwanobantu location itself, that location comprised of houses that were built by De Beers for its workers. And Naledi Street as well as Pakedi Street, the Monument Heights, those were the plots that were reserved for your business individuals, your professionals, men of the cloth, and your secondary or second citizens of these darkies. So they would then serve as, how can I put it? But they would serve as spies against Robert Sobukwe, because they were now regarded as law-abiding citizens. These other ones are the children of De Beers. So they are comfortable. Hence, it would be wiser to place Sobukwe amongst these two. So these people already, they themselves, they were already warned and prepared that they are not supposed to associate with the men that will be brought at number 6. So when Sobukwe came at number six Naledi, he already became popular as someone whom the community is not supposed to associate themselves with. And ironically, people were surprised by this guy. This guy would greet everyone he meets, although a police van would be stationed at in front of his house 24 hours. Whilst in Kimberly, Sobukwe was serving articles under, because he was studying law whilst in Robben Island. He served his articles under one prominent lawyer in Khalishewe called Zimande. And when he qualified and was accepted to the bar, he then opened his own practice office at where I'm sitting right now. This was the office of Robert Sobukwe. Sobukwe practiced his law in this office. He represented the people of Khalishewe free of charge. I don't even think for a moment that Sobukwe made money out of his profession. Because to him, as he said, education to us is a service to Africa. So being educated as he was trying to serve Africa and the Africans. Hence, the people of Khalishewe wants to remember this forgotten icon of our liberation struggle by a festival in December in celebration of Robert Sobukwe. Robert Sobukwe, like I said, stayed in Naledi Street. He practiced, he attended church at the Wesleyan Methodist Church right here in Khalishewe, including his death, because after 9 years, he died right here in Khalishewe at the Kimberly Hospital. But like all the other leaders, all liberation struggle icons, I'm talking genuine icons, all of them die mysteriously, and surprisingly they die of, wow, they die of cancer. I'm not sure. Sorry, Osinziki, are we still together? Osinziki?
Yes, we're still together. We are still together.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yes. So Robert Sobukwe died right here in Kimberly at the Kimberly Hospital. So we, as the people of Khalishewe, are remembering this icon, because we even feel that if Robert Sobukwe had something to tell us, if Robert Sobukwe had something to tell us, then we need to hear that. If we want to remember Robert Sobukwe, then we need to celebrate him with a festival. Now, like I said,
Yeah.
we have Robert Sobukwe in Khalishewe as a lay preacher, because he preached at the Wesleyan Church. We had Robert Sobukwe as a liberation struggle icon, as a lawyer in Khalishewe. We had Robert Sobukwe as a soccer fanatic. We had Robert Sobukwe because he loved soccer, he loved jazz, he would, on his way to his home, in between his home and his practice office, Robert Sobukwe would stop at the recreation hall and listen to the tunes that were played by the band that was practicing there. He loved jazz music. So we want to commemorate Robert Sobukwe with a heritage festival that would last the entire week. A memorial lecture because from the Black Lawyers Association. We were going to partner with the Black Lawyers Association for a memorial lecture. We're going to have the entire community of Khalishiwe converging at one point to have a Sobukwe Mass, a mass dedicated to Robert Sobukwe. We will be having tours that would be taking school children and the community as a whole on guided tours that would be walking on his footsteps of Robert Sobukwe. We are busy with a campaign currently, which I would think, Sisintiki, you'd be very much important in helping us push this campaign. We are running with a release the voice of Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe campaign. Now, this campaign is aimed at because Sobukwe is gone. But being gone does not mean that his voice cannot be heard. His son died searching for the voice of Robert Sobukwe. If the Sobukwe clause is not revoked or is still in existence, then yes, we understand as to why Robert Sobukwe's voice cannot be heard, because the Sobukwe clause was saying that Sobukwe cannot be quoted. Sobukwe cannot be in the company of more than one person. Sobukwe is not supposed or is not allowed to attend public gatherings. So we need to revoke the Sobukwe clause for us to can get the Sobukwe writings, because it does not make sense to me that Sobukwe would spend 9 years in Robert Island and not even write a single word or write a single page, being the learner that he was. It cannot be that Sobukwe can be placed in for another 9 years in Khalishiwe and not write anything. Of course, Sobukwe wanted to tell us something, but in order for us to hear that something, then it means that we need to get to get the Sobukwe clause repealed. We are celebrating the centenary of Robert Sobukwe currently, and yet we've got nothing to show. We have just 2 weeks back, as you know, Sisintiki, we were busy with Paseta. Now, Paseta is a Pan-Africanist school that we want to build in Kimberly or within the Northern Cape. That is going to be a school for technology, economics, as well as agriculture. And we are pushing that this school, maybe we can name it the or Mangaliso Sobukwe Paseta School. We are also, with the same campaign, we are also promoting, or we are also pushing for the initiative of erecting a memorial in form of a statue in honor of Robert Sobukwe, and that can only be done in Khalishiwe, because we as Khalishiwe residents are claiming this icon, because it looks like everyone has abandoned him. Everyone doesn't want to say something about him. We in Khalishiwe are saying we want to reclaim Robert Sobukwe, and we feel that his statue should be erected right here in Khalishiwe. So we are going to solicit funds, erect a statue for Robert Sobukwe by the people of Khalishiwe as part of as part of celebrating his life and times.
And then to go back to his life and times, there are 2 questions I've got for you. First of all, compared to the government now, what would be the difference be if Sobukwe was still alive and he was leading, what do you think the main differences would be? And then can we speak a little bit about Ntate Sobukwe le Makgowa?
Okay. Uh, with regards to his life and times, Austin Tiki, remember uh, Robert Sobukwe being the leader that he is, and if we need to compare him with the current, I'm not sure whether to call it leadership or dealership, because most of our leaders currently are more in deals than leading. So Sobukwe himself had his own way of describing what a leader is. And according to him, true leadership would demand absolute love of one's self and one's people, uh, being humble. And you look at the leadership today, there's nothing that speaks to what Sobukwe would term as a leader. And I can safely say today that yes, Sobukwe had to die for the ANC to be misleading us as this, because this is not leading. If Traore is a leader, then there's no way we can call this leadership that is governing South Africa, all these political parties, that they are leading. That's not leadership. If we are to be led in South Africa, then it means that we all have to rise up, adopt a Pan-Africanist philosophy. Then we can know who our true leaders are. Because what we have today is not actually leaders. We are having imposed leaders who have been put there by the very same oppressive system that was oppressing us in the past, but having changed cosmetics. Today, we find leaders that don't even care about their people, that would do people that would do people on their for not for the people but for themselves. So the leadership of today, the political parties that are there today, are only aimed at destroying the unity that we as the Africans are busy building, which I think for today, if we can maybe stop participating in the programs that have been set for our own demise, then I can say that, yes, we are following in the footsteps of those that came before us, those Sobukwes, those Nkrumas, those Nyereres, those Marcus Gavis of this world. Yes, unlike being participants in programs that are aimed at destroying the very same unity that we are striving so much to build. Uh, I'm not sure what to say about Sobukwe Lemako, because looking at Sobukwe, Sobukwe attended church and was a lay preacher at the Wesleyan Methodist Church. Uh, it still baffles me up until today as to how could Sobukwe, the Pan-Africanist, believe in a white Christ. And being who he was, having white friends as well. And I'm looking at the situation, I see Nelson Mandela had white friends, Joe Slovo and George Bezos. Uh, Stephen Bantu Biko had a white friend, uh, Donald Hoods. Robert Sobukwe had a white friend, Benjamin Pogrand. And looking, if by just looking at it, Sobukwe's friend was a journalist. Biko's friend was a journalist. I'm just asking myself, how true were these friends? You know, because even before Veronica, Robert Sobukwe's wife, could be allowed to visit her husband in Robben Island, Benjamin Pokrant was already had spent 2 weeks with Robert Sobukwe. Maybe he can also help us in this regard because he should have recorded this man, the man. I'm even more of the suspicion that these guys could have been agents because if Benjamin Pokrant leaves Sobukwe here in the location, goes to sleep in town, his friends or his police brothers would visit him and he would give them report backs as to how his visit was with this icon. So I'm just thinking as to, because mind you, Robert Sobukwe believed that we are from one race, which is the human race. But when we speak of the human race, we are speaking of melanated people, those that are those that are melanated. We I don't want to think that he was referring to the oppressor being part of the human race as well, because he says it there that, your honor, we are of from one race, which is the human race, a race with a history of torture, of a history of oppression. But so white people were not oppressed. So Sobukwe was not referring to them as of the human race. And yes, indeed, the human race is the one that has been oppressed and the one that has been divided along different lines. We have been divided along racial lines, educational lines, because if you are a matric holder and I'm a standard 5, whatever I say doesn't even make sense to you because of you look at me with belittlement. We are divided along religious lines, you know. So it's only up until the human race realizes the mistake of of its own race that we can unite. So Sobukwe, with regards to white people, yes, he treated everyone equally, and he believed that all human beings are born equal, and there's no way that the white race or the white people can have dominance over us as black people or as Africans, because this is the land of our birth, and rightfully so, we have traveled the length and breadth of this entire continent, educating, building, as well as sharing our own technology with this entire continent and the universe. Our bones as Africans are scattered throughout this world. We've been here since the beginning of time, and there's no way anyone can remove, or should I say, extinguish the Africans from Africa.
So, in his defense, we did have Benjamin Pogrand come to the Cover live stream with us, and he says that um, back then it was the recording devices were quite expensive, so he had to delete the vocal, the all the conversations he's been having with Sobukwe. he kept having to delete them to make more space so that he could record some more. And then in terms of the writings and stuff, he says that when Sobukwe was released from Robben Island, he wasn't allowed to take anything.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, Osintiki, that it can't be that Sobukwe didn't write anything whilst in Robben Island. Maybe the issue here would be the authorities told him that tomorrow you are leaving, so you can pack your bags, you leave everything except for your clothes. Then they would go and later on and take whatever materials that he has produced for their own archives. And but Robert, I mean, no man. Let Benjamin Pogran be honest, man. We are in search of a voice here. We want to hear the voice of this man. There's there should be somewhere where Robert Pogran hasn't deleted everything. There should be something that he has left behind. But like my suspicions, maybe the fellow was also just an agent, also working for the oppressor. Hence, he can't release the uh, the recordings. Apart from the recordings, where is everything that he has written? Because from what he has written, then maybe we can be able to can decipher as to what did this icon message, what message did this icon try to convey. So we in Khalishiwa here, because Robert Sobukwe used to defend uh, his clients in the Kimberly Magistrates Court. We've been to the Kimberly Magistrates Court. We've been to the Justice Department to ask for those recordings because back then courts were using these white radio tapes that they would record the court proceedings on. And none of those are there of Sobukwe. Yes, there are recordings of other cases that were conducted in those courts during those times, but none of Robert Sobukwe is available. So yes, see, Ausinziki, the Sobukwe clause is still active, and up until we lift it up or we revoke the Sobukwe clause, then the voice of Sobukwe will be heard. I can't understand as to uh, President Cyril Ramaphosa can't even say something around the Sobukwe clause. Now, as part of the campaign of this release Robert Sobukwe's voice campaign, we'll be traveling on bicycles. We are not trying to uh, break anyone's record of cycling. We are not there to entertain, but we'll be there cycling 4 provinces in search of Robert Sobukwe's voice. On these bicycles, we'll be leaving from Kimberly to Grafrinet, starting at his birthplace, and then we'll be traveling on his footsteps. Everywhere that Sobukwe has gone, we'll be going there on bicycles up until we reach a point where at least we can get something. We'll be taking our Fantuka Af podcast with us, and we'll be asking you to join us as well with your podcast on this journey to free the voice of Sobukwe. Because we want to be inviting the MECs at every point that we get at. We want to be inviting the minister. We want to be inviting the president to our podcast to come and explain to us as to where can we look for the voice of Robert Sobukwe. It can't be that a man had lived and his voice all would die with his death. So yes, let us look. Let's get Sobukwe speaking to us and hear him speak. Let
And then,
Benjamin Falkland
Uncle,
come on board. I'm sorry, my queen.
what about your thoughts of the PAC of today?
My thoughts about the PAC of today. Uh, in 1992 or prior to the elections, around 1994, 1990s, our liberation organizations, because now the system itself, when the system first excluded black participation, it knew what it was doing because it was by then benefiting white interests still. So later on now, they introduced what they call democracy, of which now our liberation organizations had to assume the position of being now political parties as well. So we are not talking liberation anymore. Now we are talking democracy. So our political parties today have assumed the position of being agents of the enemy. Because from this political organization, as you can see, South Africa consists, has maybe, are they, how many political parties do we have? 30, 40.
Yes,
There's a
40
lot of them,
something apparently.
40 something. Now you look at the numbers that constitute each and every political party. It's a lot of numbers. But now these numbers are the total amount of this total amount has been divided amongst these political parties. And these political parties, we know they are all funded by the very same people who are oppressing us. By the very same people who are oppressing us. Just for us not to can be able to can unite as one force and fight against the system. So they are funding, even if today I can wake up and want to start a political party, they'll fund me. Solely because of I'm working for their development. Their development or their intention is to divide the Africans to an extent that Africans will never again unite. So political parties of today are only there for their own benefits, and it has got nothing to do with the people. And if we hence we need to hear Sobukwe speak, because Sobukwe is cannot be divorced from Traore. Sobukwe cannot be divorced from Julius Nyerere. Sobukwe cannot be divorced from Marcus Garvey. So if we all push a Pan-Africanist agenda, the system does not want to accept that the Pan-Africanist agenda is the agenda that can work, and hence they they would utmostly destroy such an agenda, because if the Pan-Africanist agenda is to survive in Africa, then Europe will never benefit from Africa and its minerals anymore. Traore is proving it today. And if we are to support that one of Traore, then ours would be to look for the voice of Robert Sobukwe and hear him speak.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to share with us about Mangaliso Sobukwe that you think we should know, especially as the youth?
Yes, uh, we are also busy trying to share awareness around Robert Sobukwe. Uh, we are taking kids on tours around Khaleshewe, giving them the history of Galeshewe, the story around Robert Sobukwe, trying to change the narrative, trying to tell our stories, because we only us can write and tell our stories. No white person can tell us or can teach us our history, because history to us is not just dates being put there. History's got emotions in it. History's got feelings in it. Hence, only ourselves can tell our story. And we are saying, yes, whilst in your travels in Mzansi, make a short left to Galeshewe and come and experience the history, the heritage, including the warmth of Galeshewe, of the people of Galeshewe. Indeed, Sobukwe made an impact in Galeshewe. And with that impact, we are making impact to the world.
Thank you, Data Native. I have put your phone number on screen, 078 069 5104. So if anyone is ever out in Khalishiwe, they will reach out to you. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your information. We really appreciated the session. We'll speak to each other
Thank
next
you.
time. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
CCTV.
you.
Okay.